Hello, everyone to Forest Focus after a surprisingly tense game, or at least second half of the City Ground, with Nottingham Forest beating Southampton 3-2 today. We'll discuss that sublime first half, a panicked finish, substitutes, and referee Antony Taylor in the company of, first of all, Chris Aylmer. Chris, you're already shaking your head there at the name of Antony Taylor. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I think you would have had a little bit of a different version of me had they equalised, and I would have been blaming a lot of people, particularly referees. But look, yeah, I'm happy. We've got the 3 points. We're level on points with Arsenal. We should be happy despite the nervy end of the game.
Excellent. We'll get into all that. But first of all, Chief in the States, how you doing?
I'm about the same as Chris. I was a little nervy, but 3 points is 3 points. The title charge is still on. European charge is still on. So at the end of the day, I won't think about Antony Taylor after this show. We're just moving on. We're on to the next game.
Yeah, we'll talk about the next game against Bournemouth at the end. That is a tough one. But before we do that, a podcast debutant, a January signing in Saveena Johal. How are you doing, Saveena?
I'm great, thanks. Great to be on board. So yeah, I echo the thoughts of both Chief and Chris, really. I thought it was a strong performance for most of the game. We came away with 3 points and, it's great. We're third in the league. So there's not all that much to complain about right now.
No,
apart from
we'll find a few things. We'll find a few things to do with him. Is that the thing, Chris, for you? But it felt like a game to get through more than anything for me.
Yeah, I mean, we're comfortable 3-0 up at half time. Not even I am thinking that we're going to blow that at that stage. And I think the thing that bothers me the most is, consistent poor officiating throughout the game. If you look at even the first few minutes, I think he gave a foul. Maybe it was 10 minutes in. He gave a foul for Morgan Gibbs-White. Gibbs-White wasn't anywhere near the player. The player slipped, went down. If he had a bit of pressure on him, I would have been like, okay, fair enough. So that I was like, alarm bells there. But look, I'm not going to be blaming refs for anything today, hopefully. And then, as the game goes on, Flynn Downs fouls Gibbs-White. It's a clear yellow card. In any other game, that's a yellow card. So he would have been on his first yellow. Then later on, towards the end of the first half, he fouled him again. He didn't get a yellow previously to that, so obviously he can't get a double yellow to get sent off, but could have been a red. But I'd say it was probably maybe a fair yellow card, but I think he should have had a yellow card prior to that. So he should have been gone, and I messaged you that at half time. So that's two really poor bits of officiating. And then we go 4-1 up with a disallowed goal inverted commas that I don't know what we're looking at here. So Wood was offside, but was he interfering with the defender? If you look at the other angle, he's nowhere near the defender. The defender's nowhere near him. Milenkovic would still get that header on target. Ramsdale would still spill it like an absolute idiot, and we'd be absolutely fine. And lo and behold, we have to start making some changes because obviously there's some tired legs out there. We go to our template, they score from a corner, and we got a nervy 12 minutes, which I thought there should have been at least 7 minutes, but 12 minutes did seem long to me. And then we're just sat there, and it's heart attack stuff the back end of the game. So yeah, I do blame the referee for some silly decisions, and it actually genuinely could have really cost us. But yeah, apart from that, I'm really, really happy to win the game.
We'll do an Antony Taylor bit now because I hate talking about refs, and I spent all season not talking about refs, but I think it's legit here to talk about Taylor because he was bad. What did you think about his performance, Chief? Is it detracting from our own failures, or was he that bad?
I think he was that bad. I kind of just want to just clip what Chris just said and put it over my box on the screen because he said it perfectly. He was atrocious. I thought that could have been a red. I feel like I've seen reds given out for less, getting hit in the face like that. It was almost a hockey punch. So yeah, the referee almost cost you. Thank God once again for Olina picking one off the line to save the bacon there. So it was nervy, and it shouldn't have been. It should have been 4-1. They should have put that game in bubble wrap. It would have been over. Yeah,
I agree. And the other thing was adding 12 minutes. I don't know where 12 minutes came from. That was an unnecessary lift for Southampton going into it. I don't know how you watch games or view refs, Saveena. I don't know if you're an angry fan or if you're ultra chilled out. So I can't tell how this answer is going to go. But just give us a word on the ref before we move on.
Yeah, so I actually think in terms of so how this season's gone for us, so far, we've had slightly more favourable referee decisions compared to the last two. So it's felt a bit more smooth sailing. We haven't had all that much to complain about. But then you come into this game and, okay, it's Antony Taylor. We haven't had he hasn't had a great record with us. I thought the call, the yellow card, I thought it should have been red as well, to be fair. He elbowed Gibbs-White. And I actually think that had it have been because it was 2-0 at the time. Had it been 0-0, I wonder if it would have been a different call altogether. So yeah, that's quite interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Right. I think another factor in the finish was subs, but as ever, we'll do this chronologically because it's just easier for me because I make my notes in a bit of a panic and then we just get into it, and it falls apart if I don't do it this way, basically. Let's talk about the start then, Chris. I mean, the first half followed a pattern, didn't it? Like 3 ruthless finishes from us, and Southampton were good with the ball, but we scored 3 brilliant goals. We'll start with the first one from Anderson. They all look simple, but they're not. I mean, that's a great goal, and a perfect way to get your first goal for the club. And it's a surprise it's taken this long as well for him.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, Anderson. He was brilliant today, not just offensively, but defensively as well. He was class. It's that little round the corner ball from Gibbs White as well. It just opens the space. It looks simple, but it's just a moment where someone puts a bit of pressure on Gibbs White. And he goes, all right, see you, and then lets Anderson away and knows Anderson's going to do some damage. Obviously, we had the reverse of that in the Wolves game, the Anderson ball to Gibbs White, and then Gibbs White runs into the space and causes damage. So those two together are an absolute nightmare for any team. And now that we finally got the two of them playing together regularly over the course of the last sort of 5-6 games, it's just a game changer because they're both so talented. So if you leave one, the other is going to be free, and they seem to open space up for each other. The finish was class, like outside, low, hard, bouncing. Ramsdale had a bad game today, but in general, it's a tricky one to try and save. That is such a great finish, and a lovely goal for his first goal. Like it's not sort of a bundling in sort of Taiwo's type first goal. It's that kind of clean strike from outside the box, and you got to celebrate it. So yeah, I thought it was class.
The second goal, Chief, was sort of similar. Southampton responded quite well, I thought, to be fair, to the goal, but Hudson-Odoi from not the greatest assist from Chris Wood, but he did win the ball back, and Hudson-Odoi is even more clinical. I think that was probably a better finish.
Oh yeah, you can't leave him with that much space. He even looked, his celebration was like, are you guys serious? You guys gonna give me that much room, that much time and space? So he buried it easily, tucked it inside that post there. So yeah, I mean, and they did have that maybe a 5-minute spell where they had a few corners right after the Anderson goal. They had a couple of nervy chances. Murillo had that nice little interception inside the 6-yard box. And then it felt like that should have been the game. It should have been 2-0. Callum Hudson-Odoi, good night. And but obviously it wasn't the case. But yeah, great finish. And that's, I said this earlier in the year, I was nervous when all the goals were coming from Chris Wood. I love seeing that they've diversified their attack a little bit and everybody's getting in on the action.
Yeah, definitely. Any worries about injuries, Chief? Obviously, Hudson-Odoi goes off. I was worried we were going to lose Sells and Murillo in the space of a minute, and I'm thinking, oh, crap, this whole thing's falling apart. We got through that, but is Hudson-Odoi going off a concern now?
Yeah, I think so, but just because there's such a drop-off in my eyes between him and Silva or Sosa. So, Marinakis in the building, get the black card out. We need a little bit more depth for this January run. So I hope I wouldn't mind seeing them add on the wing in addition to the striker position.
Yeah, that leads into the subs a little bit. It's all one theme, I guess, Saveena, isn't it? Does it feel like there's such a huge drop-off between the level of performance of the first choice 11 right now when you go down to Taiwo and Jota when they come on? And I'm not trying to denigrate them as players or anything, but does it show the need that we probably need at least one forward option this window for you?
I think we do, definitely. But I do feel when Jota came on, he did slot in quite well. I mean, we had the third goal kind of straight after, but Taiwo, for me, he looked pretty exhausted today. And yeah, I'd say there's a huge difference between him and Chris Wood currently. So yeah, I definitely think we do need that option up front. Everyone
has a say in Taiwo then. Where are you at in Taiwo, Saveena, as a Forest player? Are you writing him off then now or not?
I've always been very positive about Taiwo in the past, and I think he's done a great job for us up until this point. But I do think he's kind of nearing the end of his course with Forest. So I think it's likely time to let go and start to explore other options.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, I fiercely defend Taiwo on here. It was a rough showing today. And it did raise a few alarm bells for me with the month ticking down. What about you? Were you worried or not? Was it a difficult game state thing or not?
I think it's difficult for him to come into games late in games. Obviously, we all love Taiwo, but I think the thing that frustrates me sometimes, particularly when we're hanging on in a game like that, is Wood does so much good pressing. He keeps in shape, and Taiwo seems to slip out of shape quite quickly. And the ball doesn't really seem to stick to Taiwo like it does to Wood at the moment. And he's had really good moments throughout the season, Taiwo, where the ball stuck to him and he's come in. I think he needs to start games to get into the rhythm of them, really. But yeah, it just doesn't seem to stick to him. And in that game, you need like a Chris Wood taking it down, laying it off the winger, run to the corner, kill some time. And it just didn't seem to work out for him. And I know he's not getting the minutes he wants, but yeah, I don't know is the answer. I think we might need a slightly different profile to Chris Wood as well, just to mix things up. If we're taking Wood off, we might need something a little bit different, and maybe someone who can dovetail doing the winger and striker cover job. But yeah, I feel for Taiwo because he's been so good to us. But if there's big money coming in, and I think you've mentioned this to me before, Matt, if there's big money coming in from, we might just have to take it. But I wouldn't get rid of him without a backup, and I think everyone knows that. I think we'd buy someone if we got rid of him, you know. Yeah,
he's getting some hammer in the comments today. There's also people defending him, telling people in the comments to lay off him. I guess telling us to lay off him as well. But I'll ask Chief as well where he's at, because it does feel like a big topic. It's probably the biggest topic this month, I think, away from his match results. So where are you at on it, Chief?
Yeah, I love Big T. I love Big T, and it's like you play Southampton and you remember the moments he had against them in that critical first year where I think he had 2 when they won that game 4-3 away in the rain, and I just feel like every time he's been off for a while, he comes back and he looks a little clumsy. And that was true when he was the first choice number 9. And if he can't get minutes to kind of work through some of that, I think he's going to just look permanently clumsy. Maybe he's just not a guy suited for bench minutes and sub minutes late. So I would love it if it would work out. It feels like it's not. I'd like to add a striker. And I just don't know what I'm talking about. I would like someone in the profile of Chris Wood, because God forbid something happened to Chris Wood. I want that big body, so you just don't have to change the entire way you attack. So if it's not going to be Taiwo, I'd like someone who is sort of that hold up number 9, get on the end of headers and make life physically difficult for the opposition center backs.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's an interesting situation to monitor because you need more coming off the bench, but I don't know. I hear what everyone's saying, and it's one that we'll follow up on that tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. with Prutz, Greg, and Pete will be there for that. 465 people watching, which is lovely. Do us a favor if you haven't already, and just hit like and subscribe on the video. Upcoming home game is Brighton on the 1st of February. It's the 12:30 kickoff, so it'll be on TV, televised on TNT. So if you don't have a ticket, you can watch the game there, and then you can come back afterwards or hang around and enjoy the Fun Boy 2 free entry, 80s classics, club 80s and 90s classics, no less. Club classics, bangers, anthems, and floor fillers straight after at the City Ground. I will read that so well. Right, third goal we haven't even got to yet. I'll do this for Chris, because I texted you, Chris, about 10 minutes before and said Chris Wood is going to score. And these are absolute muck at the back. And lo and behold, he did. That was a fantastic header. And he probably could have scored more in the game. What do you think about it?
Yes, great header. I was talking to you about, I think maybe I was messaging you. I can't remember if I was messaging someone else. You know what it's like in a game. You're texting everyone going mad. But the type of headers he seems to score are finesse. They're not, he doesn't necessarily need a bullet header. His directional accuracy with his headers is perfect. Look at the Man United header. It was kind of across goal, but it was kind of towards goal. The Palace header last year is one of my favorite goals I've ever seen of score. Lovely ball from Gibbs White over Henderson's head, and he knew what he was doing. You know, I remember at Luton a season ago or something, he scored a great header downward, bouncing into the far corner. He kind of did the same today, but the far end, this time to Bridgeford rather than the Trent end. So I just think his heading is exceptional, and it's like, I wouldn't say it's underrated, but I think most people, when they like to see a good header, they go, "Oh, that's a bullet header into the back of the net." He is a finesse header of the ball. That was a perfectly weighted header, and that's why you see Ramsdale scrambling for it. I think Castells might have saved that because Castells is in such good form, and Ramsdale did have a bad game today, but it was such a great header. Great cross from Aina as well. Lovely. We've seen Aina threaten to do that in loads of games. I was at a Chelsea away game a few months ago, and Aina put this lovely ball in for Jota Silva, and we nearly stole the game. So we've seen him do that. He can cross the ball, and it just adds that extra threat on the right-hand side when, Elanga's gone on ahead or underlapping him. So it's class header. Love it. Wood is the man. He's inevitable at the moment. You have him in your FPL team. He'll get an assist for that little pressing move on for Callum Hudson-Odoi as well. So you should be delighted.
Everyone's got him in their FPL team.
Except me, you. As you know. My choice after the deadline. Let's move on. Yeah,
you tap that in like Chris would. Thank you, Simon. That's how I make a living out of this with such outstanding punditry. Did you ever think you would see, Saveena, a Forest team be this clinical? And not just, we saw it in the Championship for years, but to be this clinical in the Premier League, did you ever think you'd see that?
It's been a long time coming, hasn't it? So I think we're brilliant on the counter-attack. We showed that today, especially in the first half. Super pacey. We managed to, win the ball. Drive it forward, get it into the goal. So I think it was inevitable eventually, but it's just great to see. It's great to be able to watch such brilliant football from Forest, and it's crazy because obviously we're third in the league now, right? And there's talk of the Champions League, and it almost just feels surreal to see us playing. So when the last game at the City Ground, I was talking to the man next to me, and he was saying it's just like watching Brazil. it's true, in some parts it's just phenomenal. So I'm enjoying the ride.
It's like watching 90s Italy, I think. Defend Saki's AC Milan. We will defend relentlessly, and then we will score. Yeah, it is brilliant. It is brilliant. Second half. I felt, Chris, we were never going to concede a goal. Like, they didn't look like scoring. Was it always going to be a freak goal like that makes things a little bit more nervy? What was your take on the goal?
I just felt that I don't even think we switched off or anything. It was unlucky. It looped over Sells. I think the majority of the time he might even save that. Bednarek hardly knew what he was doing with it. He might have even been offside, but he was just a toenail onside, I think. I was really annoyed because if you're a Forest fan over the years, when you're 3-0 up or 2-0 up and someone scores a goal, you get nervy. You get that feeling in the pit of your stomach. So I was irritated by it. But yeah, I felt like we were really unlucky there, and we responded really well with I'm sure we'll talk about this. Maybe we already did. But, we responded really well just after that. But yeah, I was just really annoyed and frustrated because it felt like we were cruising for another nice clean sheet. And I felt like we kind of deserved one today. We'd played so well up to that point. But yeah, I felt like Southampton were lucky. And yeah, it was a free goal. One of those ones you can't really control. But it was a nervy end after that.
Yeah, I didn't have, any negatives against us for the goal. I thought it was bad luck. Less bad luck for the fourth goal, Chief. We'll talk about that now. I mean, I can't. Can you see any reason why that's disallowed or not?
I don't get it. It was like he was 5 yards away from the play to begin with, so he wasn't impacting the defender's ability to make a play. Milenkovic got his head on it. I could not believe when they took that goal away, and that's the game that should have put it on ice. And we could have just had a nice, comfortable, easy, for me, a morning, for you guys, an evening. And it would have been, that's how it should have been. Like, they get their one lucky goal. Oh, good for them. That's very cute. You guys, a little Southampton, came in and got your lucky goal. But then after they took that away is when I started to get like little nervy shakes here. But that is the difference between Nuno and Forest and maybe a team like Arsenal and Arteta. Like, they give up that tying goal. Forest doesn't. We get 3 points. We keep marching up.
Yeah, we got through it. I mean, could you even believe they were sent to the monitor, Saveena? Once they get sent to the monitor, I knew what was coming, but could you believe they even got sent to the monitor?
Yeah, I mean, it was shocking, really. I don't think Wood, so he wasn't affecting Ramsdale. The keeper makes the error, and it should have been 4-1. And as Chief says, that should have put the game to bed there and then. But yeah, I think it shouldn't have been that decision at all. And even more shocking that he was actually sent to the monitor. It's tough, unfair decisions all around, I think. this game. For
Forest. Someone here says, okay, I'll put this comment up from Bruce. I don't know if Bruce is a Forest fan or Southampton fan. Would have 3 defenders, Mark, if he was such a threat, they wouldn't have been. I think there's maybe the laughing is giving it away. I don't know. Chris, I can't see any justification for it. The man who's marking Milenkovic, isn't hampered by Chris Wood at all. So I don't know what's going on there.
I'll start by saying the referee is sent to the screen. Then there should be even more reason for him to look at it and go, oh yeah, that's definitely a goal. So I know that when he gets sent to the screen more times than not, they disallow it, but that means nothing to me. Go to the screen, look at it, see what you're seeing, see that Wood is 5 yards off the defender, 5 yards off the keeper, not impacting play. He is in the zone of their defenders, sure, but he's not impacting play. I guarantee you 80-90% of the time that goal is given in loads of other games. Milenkovic rises high to get the header in. I think Wood's kind of going towards the ball himself. But other than that, I don't see anything. I don't see him near the defenders. I don't see him near the goalkeeper. I don't know why it was disallowed. On second and third viewing, I started to think, oh, actually, no, they're going to give this. But when he goes to the screen, you can see it even clearer. That's the whole point of the screen, is to see what is there. And he didn't. And it was a disgraceful decision, in my opinion, just like the other 2 he made in the game. So, yeah, I'm not happy about it. And it really made things nervy for us. And if we drop points today, that's a massive dent in not only our title challenge, but also our top 4 challenge, because there's teams who have dropped points like Newcastle and Arsenal. All these teams around us have dropped points this weekend, and it could have made a massive difference. If they came back to 3-3, that's 2 points dropped against the bottom of the table team because of big decisions like that. So, yeah, I'm not happy about it at all.
Chief, who's scuttling around? It's like a horror movie in the background. I feel like there's something, but there's someone behind you or something.
Yeah, we had probably 4 different people running in here. I'm glad you directed the questions elsewhere so I could keep everything muted, and a dog off camera. So there's a lot going on, but I think we're settled now.
Good. There was a lot going on after that then in the game. Did we get ragged, do you think? Because it was a bit unlike us. We normally kill games. We haven't made the subs at this point. But did we lose our way? Did Southampton play better? What do you think went wrong at that point in the match for us?
Yeah, I thought it looked like a little bit of tired legs too, and the subs were probably brought on. They were brought on when it was 3-1 and maybe 3-2. Maybe you do things a little differently. Maybe Willy Bally does come on. I mean, I know Murillo got the little knock, and then he didn't look quite as effective aside from that last run right down Broadway there, right up the middle of the field. But yeah, I think it looked like tired legs, and I'm glad they have 10 days off now, something like that, or no, Bournemouth and then 10 days off. So they got ragged, but they did enough to get it done. So that's all that matters in the end.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what about the subs, Saveena? They normally had control. They didn't in this game. Any particular reason for that? Anything that worried you about how we finished the match, or is it just one of those things where, especially once Southampton got a goal, they've got something to cling to? Was it always going to be that kind of finish once it was 3-2?
Yeah, so I think Gibbs White, obviously, he was great for us today. So when he went off, I feel like it impacted the game. We had Antony, Sosa, Yates, and Murato. I do think when the subs came on, it did impact the rest of the game, and we were kind of looking to then ease into the full-time whistle. So yeah, it did have a kind of knock-on effect. Yeah. I
know we won the game, Chris. So this is what we get to. It feels like we're nitpicking, but people are saying about the subs is 4 too many in one? Do you ever think that? It's the modern games, you can make so many changes, but 4 in one at that stage, is it too many for you or not?
Possibly. I'm with Saveena on this. I think it did impact it at the back end, just purely because we'd already had Jota Silva come on first half. Second half, we made that sub. What was the next sub after that? I can't remember. Was it Murato? No, Murato was one of the 3, was he? But we essentially made a lot of subs towards the back end of the game and there was one point where Sells and Murillo were both slightly looking like they were both injured. So my worry was there was 10 minutes left and there was still injury time to come. One of them, like Murillo, he said he was okay, but he might have gone off, or we might have needed that sub for a backup at the back end. But another thing as well is I felt like there was and this hasn't been the case most of the season, to be fair. There was a bit of drop of quality once the load of subs were all on the pitch. So you have a lot of quality players coming off the pitch at once, Gibbs White, Wood, etc. And Anderson looked like he was just sort of running himself to the ground to try and keep us ticking over. That was my biggest fear. Between midfield and the forward line, you have so much quality coming off that if you've got about 15, 20 minutes to go, including injury time, you run that risk of Southampton come back into the game, which they did. And then all of a sudden they're in control of the game because they smell blood. They see that it's not our full first 11 on. So I probably would have waited a little bit longer to make those changes. I understand why he did them. It was 3-1 at that point in time. And it has worked, some of those subs, but too many for me. I just felt there was too much of a quality drop off at that moment.
Do you think we're making too much of the subs and the bench? This is the second game in a row we talked about the drop off between the bench and the first 11, but it hasn't really been like that all season. Maybe it's because it's January or not. I mean, is there a huge disparity for you or not in between the subs and the ones who start?
Yeah, for me, it's Jota. Like, he was brought on, and all year he provides that spark, that energy, and he just kind of helps you get over the line. Today, it felt like he was maybe going down a little bit too easy. He wasn't controlling the ball. He wasn't that impact sub that we've seen. And when he doesn't have that energy and that impact, then he's not as technical as the wingers that he normally replaces. So I thought that he left me wanting more today. And again, that is kind of why I'd like to have that kind of, like Chris was saying, that hybrid that can dovetail between playing a striker or out on the wing, just because I feel like we need a little bit more quality for situations like today, or situations like we had against Liverpool where they score late. And it's like, man, I wish we had a little bit of some offensive magic, attacking magic off that we could bring off the bench.
Yeah, I think so. We haven't discussed the goal yet, Chris. Do you want to come in on that or not? Go on.
Just the one thing I noticed about Jota is, to be fair to him, he comes up with one or two big chances a game at the back end. So for a sub to come on in the last 15, 20 minutes and do that, I think today he had one where he fell on the ground and sort of fumbled his way off Harwood Bellis and then got the ball across. And we probably should have scored from it. Ramsdale saved it and then it was scrambled off the line. So he does come up with like big chances. I think there was another one in the Wolves game. I can't think off the top of my head, but there's moments where, you know, he does come up with one or two big chances. Like, I have to give him credit there, but I think, yeah, look, we've talked about the drop off in the subs, but yeah, I just wanted to add that in. Sorry, tangent.
No, and he did head it back across for Chris Wood as well. I think after about 70 minutes where Wood kneed it over, or went over off his thigh or something. So yeah, he did. He has moments, but I don't think it was his best game.
I was surprised he didn't make an attempt on goal himself there. And that to me, it was like, is he tired? Is he lacking a little bit of confidence? Because that was sitting right there for him. I feel like if he had a normal sub appearance where he comes on in the 75th minute and he's feeling good and fresh, maybe he just tries to put that one on himself.
Yeah.
To be fair, bad miss though. It was a bad miss though, right? Was it off his knee? Was that Wood off?
I don't know. It was at an awkward height, wasn't it? And the only defender on it. I don't think it was a sitter or anything. I mean, if he got it on target today, Aaron Ramsdale was probably going to let it in. So yeah, that was a shame.
Yeah.
I think Wood might have even. Sorry, I was just going to say, I think Wood might have expected him to have shot at that point, Jota to have shot, and that's why he might have been caught off guard as well. Yeah,
and the defender did all right there. I mean, Southampton are absolutely horrific at the back, but that was one of the rare occasions where whoever the defender was, I think they did all right. I'm not blaming Wood for that, especially as he's headed one in from, where he shouldn't have scored, and against Liverpool as well, he shouldn't have scored that particularly. So yeah, no, that's all fair. We haven't discussed their goal or Aina's clearance. So looking at their goal, Saveena, can we do better? I mean, the bloke's 7 foot tall. He should score more Premier League goals than he does on Onuachu. But do we have to defend that better and not give him a free header, I guess?
Yeah, I think we were very unlucky to concede there, whether it was meant or not. I don't think there was a lot that Sales could have actually done with their goal, to be quite fair. But yeah, very, very unlucky. And then of course the goal at the start of stoppage time. So that obviously came from the corner. So I'm getting ahead of myself. It did start to change the kind of narrative of the game, and and then there was that brilliant goal line clearance, like you said, from Aina, which did keep us in the game at that point and kind of saw us through to the win. So yeah, he played a massive role. I thought he was probably man of the match for me.
Oh, you're preempting there. We'll come on to that. Yeah, well, let's talk about Einer's clearance, though, Chris. I mean, the commentary said, that's as good as a goal. I mean, that's the best piece of defending I think I've seen all season from anyone. That's unbelievable from Einer, isn't it?
It's class. And you know what? He was on the line, I think, against Liverpool as well. There was a Sells saved the ball and it deflected and hit off Aina. And I don't know if it was going in once Sells had saved it in that game midweek, but it came off Aina to go further wide as well. He always seems to drop back on the line. And I know that's what defenders do. You drop one back onto the line, but that clearance today, that's the difference between 3 points and one. That really is. That's going to the back of the net. Wouldn't be surprised if Southampton then decided to come at us after that, because they've got a draw is no good to them either. So yeah, unbelievable clearance. And it's not one of those clearances where he's on the line, it kind of hits his chest. It's one of those clearances where he drops back and backwards pounds it a volley off the line with his right foot. I mean, a lot of times defenders do that and the ball hits off their foot and goes into the back of the net. It's absolute class from Aina. He's been brilliant all season. And yeah, unbelievable from him. So fair play to him. Massive, massive clearance. Massive part of the season, that.
So I was doing some research for Wednesday's podcast, which is on Matt Sells, actually, with James Belshaw, analysing Sells. And I was looking at stats, and we'd already had the most clearances off the line going into this game as a team. We'd had 6. That's our 7th seat already. And I imagine most of those are Aina and Murillo. That's not by accident, though, is it, Chief? That's more than a trend. That comes about from collective quality and desire, I guess.
Yeah, and then being athletic enough and having the ability to execute a play like that, because like Chris is saying, a lot of guys don't have the quality that goes, they kick it off the top of the bar and it goes right in your own net. So it was an incredible play, incredible awareness. And I think we're lucky to have this back line. Like who on the back line has laid an egg this entire year? They've all, from Williams to Aina to the 2 center halves, they've all been incredible and consistent. The backbone of this team. They've been great all year. So that was a moment. And yeah, it saves 1 point or 3 points for becoming 1. That is the type of, that would have been a backbreaking kind of lot, or dropping points rather. And then you start to worry about Europe and the doubt creeps in. But instead, I'm sure Aina is on Snapchat dancing and having funny moments, and we're all the better for it. So thank God for that. And, and on to the next one.
Yeah, Williams was great today, by the way. I thought both fullbacks were outstanding. So, that's a fair point. How were the nerves in the final? I think there was 11 minutes left at that point, Saveena. How are you watching as a fan at that point?
So I think in terms of the extra time itself, I thought that was an outrageous call as well, because I definitely don't think it should have been that long. But no, after that clearance, it did get progressively more tense, and it was strange because watching the first half, it was very fun. Like the first half to watch as a fan, and the Forest team, they looked like they were having fun on the pitch as well. But then you go on to those final minutes, and it's completely, it's like literally from one extreme to another, and it almost felt as tense as it did feel as tense as the Liverpool match for me. So yeah, it was very, very a very nervy finish, and I am happy to come away with the 3 points, because it could have gone the other way and we could have ended up with a draw. So I think we did well to come away with those 3 points, and yeah, we're level with Arsenal. We just need to hopefully get a few more goals in now. And
thanks very much, Steve. 610 people watching. Do us a favour and hit like if you would. That'd be fantastic. It felt like, Chris, not like the Liverpool game to me. It felt like the relegation games, like Southampton at home, the 4-3 game. It was such an alien feeling, because I just back our defence so much. But that could have been, as the guys have said, that's a real sliding doors moment potentially in the whole season, isn't it, if we concede there?
Yeah, definitely. And I know that none of the previous Southampton games have much relevance to today, because they're all at such separate parts of each season and a couple of years ago. But we've only beaten Southampton by 1 goal in all the games. And I think we've been much better than them in every game that we've played them since we're back in the Premier League. We've beaten them 4 times now, including today. And, you know, we had a tense moment 2 years ago. I remember at the back end of that game, we nearly went 5-3 up. I think Felipe was offside, and then, or 5-2 up, and then Ward-Prowse scored a penalty and it put us under pressure. And it just always feels like, you know, against teams like Southampton, we it's almost like we want the show. But look, the reality is we are a better team than Southampton. We should always be beating them. We have a 100% record now since we've come back up to the Premier League, and it's just that emotional feeling that you can't help as a Forest fan at the back end of the game, and you see the away fans go mad once they score late, and you kind of go, oh no, is this going to happen again? Even though we're on this we haven't lost a game in eight Premier League matches, I think. So look, it's all emotion and stuff. Ultimately, we're better than them. Ultimately, we've got 3 points. We should be absolutely delighted with that. These are the games as well. Sorry to keep going here, but these are the games as well that, like, we don't necessarily always win in terms of like the bottom 3, playing those teams that are a bit worse than us. And this season we've done away with Ipswich at home 1-0. We've beaten Leicester away 3-1. We've beaten Southampton twice now. So we've got all 100% record against those promoted teams that we should definitely beat. We have definitely beat them all. And I'm really happy about that. So I'm also happy that Leicester are doing really badly without Cooper, because they shouldn't have got rid of him. Carry on.
We shall discuss Leicester and Cooper tomorrow, I'm sure. That's 12 wins out of 13 now, I think, against the bottom half teams, which is fantastic and a big factor, obviously, in why we're doing so well. Wolves at home was the only one that we didn't win. Thanks very much to Nottingham Window Company for being the second sponsors of this episode, as ever. Our post-match shows appreciate their support. If you're looking for new windows or doors, check out the link in the description. They'll come anywhere across the East Midlands, but primarily not. So do check that out, and thanks for their backing. Right, we'll just go around the room quickly for man of the match, and then we'll talk about Bournemouth and the wider picture. Saveena, are you sticking with whoever you said? I can't remember who said. Was it Anderson?
It was Aina, yeah. So I think initially I was thinking between him and Morgan Gibbs-White, but yeah, Aina for me. I thought he did brilliantly. He's been great for us all season, to be fair. But he really kind of he shone through in today's game. And I think, you know, we've had a lot of games where it's been difficult to pick a man of the match, but yeah, definitely Aina for me. Although Murillo was fantastic during that first half, but I'm sticking with Aina.
Drop your man of the match in the chat. Just be curious to see what people say. A couple of Elliot Anderson shouts already in there as well. 3 Elliot Anderson shouts. Chief, what about you?
Make it 4. Make it 4. I'm with Elliot Anderson as well. So the goal, obviously, that was great. Great to see him get one. But it was a play in the second half where to me, like, summed up how much quality he has. It's a long ball kind of over the top, and he just controlled it as he was running down towards the goal line. It's just like, this guy, those magic feet, he can do anything. I do think that he is a level up. You know, we've been trying to fill that kind of 8 position for a while, and he's taken it by the reins, and it is his job now to lose. So regardless of when Danilo and Sangare and all these guys come back, to me, like, that's his job. And now if he can add a little bit of the goal scoring element to his game too, that the sky is the limit. Like, he might be looking at an England call-up if he keeps playing like this.
Yeah. Lots of shouts for Nico, Ola Aina, a couple of Gibbs Whites as well. Chris, what about you?
Make it 5. Anderson was brilliant. The thing for me about him is score a goal first half, second half you play really well, the front end of it, and then your 2 midfielders who started the game with you, Dominguez and Gibbs-White, who were really good today, go off the pitch. And I'm not saying Yates is great, he's been good all season, but you have substitutes come on, and then you still have to control the tempo of the game. You have to keep getting back. You look at players like Jota Silva, some of them were a little bit leggy at the back end of the game. Even the substitutes had come on for the last 20, 30 minutes. Anderson didn't look leggy at all. He was all over the pitch, and he was defending for his life, and he was brilliant. So not just his quality going forward. Any coach loves a midfielder who's just going to dig in and keep getting back, and every phase again and again and again. I thought he was brilliant today. Give a shout out to Williams as well, by the way. Like, he managed that left-hand side so well. First half, I think it's Sugawara got past him a couple of times, but he did really, really well. And there was a couple of header clearances that he made that you don't really notice, from like chip balls in or corners, and they really make a difference, because if that ball comes down, someone loses the second ball, ball's in the back of the net. So he was great today. But Anderson, for me, just like, it's another level, and he has been one of the big differences this season.
Yeah, I think so. Don't abuse people in the chat. I can see that. There's no need to start throwing bombs at each other, especially after a win. I would back that up. I thought Anderson was great. I thought the fullbacks were great. The other one I would make a case for is Gibbs White. I think that when he went off the pitch, our performance dropped noticeably. He was running the game, and he was, in terms of attacking quality, I thought he was, way ahead of the rest. But Anderson, just in terms of an all-round performance, consistency as well. If he's not in the next England squad, then I would be shocked and thoroughly disappointed. There's 666 people watching, so no one turn off. But if someone else wants to join us, that would be lovely. Right. Just before we go, final quick word on how we're feeling about it, or how we're feeling about Bournemouth next week. I don't know if you saw the Bournemouth-Newcastle game, or Saveena, but Bournemouth look a hell of a side. They've got no squad at the moment of so many injuries. But how are you feeling about that game and the wider picture in the title race, I suppose I should throw in, but certainly the top four?
Yeah, I did actually watch the game, kind of had it on in the background. So I think Bournemouth were kind of playing through them at will, and I feel we're more kind of organised defensively than Newcastle. They looked pretty disorganised yesterday. Although they're historically tough for us to crack, so it will definitely be an interesting game. But I think, considering we played so well against Liverpool, that will give us the confidence and inspiration to kind of, be able to move forward and know that we can get a result from this game against Bournemouth. So yeah, no kind of real worries or panic from me. I do think we can get a good result against them. So yeah, feeling pretty.
What's a good result?
Pretty confident. I would say 2-0.
Okay, because I was thinking a draw is a good result, but yeah, that's better than what I would say. Yeah, certainly. How are you feeling?
For another clean sheet, it's been a couple of games where we haven't had a clean sheet. So yeah, it'd be good to get back on that.
I think we'd have got a clean sheet today, but for that free goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were well on track. They weren't offering anything. How are you feeling about Bournemouth at this stage, Chris?
I think we can go out and beat them. I think that they obviously looked great yesterday against Newcastle, but Newcastle looked great the 6 prior games. It's a game by game situation. Look, they're a very well oiled team. Their coach is very good. They've got a lot of threats going forward between Semenyo and Kluivert, and even Brooks was pulling some of the strings there in that game from what I saw. But I think we can beat them. We've righted a lot of wrongs this season. Spurs, Everton, Wolves, Brentford, all these games we weren't meant to win. We've taken them out. And Brentford, when they played us a few months ago, or a month or two ago, it was a month ago, they hadn't lost a game at home. They were looking like a well-oiled machine at home. They're looking very well coached, and Mbemo and Wissa were looking dangerous, and we shut them out, and we got a 2-0 win. So Saveena might be right there. We might just go down there and try and shut them out. I think they're a very, very good team, and they're playing like a top 6 team at the moment, and they're in the top 6, but we are just that bit better. And I'm confident going into the game, and I think we'll take them on, and I think we'll beat them. I do. I think we'll beat them 3-1.
Love it. Love the positivity. It's got to that stage of the season now for me where I start looking at the other games each weekend. So I'll just read those out for us, Chief. There's some interesting fixtures against where teams will expect to win. So Liverpool at home to Ipswich, Newcastle away to Southampton, Arsenal away to Wolves. You would think that the big clubs there will win that one, but it is City v Chelsea, so someone's going to take points off someone there, and the other teams are kind of Villa got West Ham and should win that one. Taking all that into account, Chief, how are you feeling about the game? Is a point a disaster, or would do you expect us to win?
I don't think a point is a disaster away. I mean, that would kind of mark what they did to us the first game of the year. So I would take a point there, but three would kind of bury Bournemouth in terms of catching us. I would put them 10 points back. So it does feel like a huge swing. So 1 point is fine. 3 and that's crossed another team off the list that we don't have to worry about anymore. So I think they should be going in there with a lineup, that can, the kind of what we saw today, which has kind of become our normal lineup, give our best 11 and go for the win. Try to get that 2-0, 3-1 win the way the other two are predicting, because that's what Forest needs. And that's what Forest fans should be expecting now. I think that this is like the new reality. Go away to Bournemouth and get a win.
Just looking at the table, I haven't really mentioned the table. As said before, we're third on goal difference to Arsenal. City are playing now. I think they're playing Ipswich, so I don't know. Obviously, we don't know what the results can be in that one. Newcastle are 6 points behind us on 38. Chelsea on 37. And as Chief said, Bournemouth on 37. So if we can win, go 10 points ahead of them with 15 games to go, that's pretty hard for them to overturn that. A City 3-0 up. Oh, wow. Okay. You can say City are going to win that one then. So they're coming back a little bit, but they are playing Ipswich away. Right. Chris, any final thoughts? Anything you want to add before we go?
Just about Forest in general, I just think, look at Ipswich is a perfect example, right? They've spent a lot of money coming into the summer and they're down 3-0 to City already. They might go down. I don't mind Ipswich, but they might go down. We spent similar amount of money, threw everything at the wall. Media came at us. We stayed up, and now look at us. There's a different feel around this club. There's something special happening right now, and we are game by game. A game like today is a massive result because we're beating the teams we definitely should beat, and disregarding the referee who was shocking today, and disregarding some of the sort of the nervy moments at the end of the game, I think it's a really, really, really massive result for us. And we'll be nervous against Bournemouth next week, but currently we're better than them, and I think we can go there in their not so great stadium and beat them. So I'm really, really happy. And massive shout out to Saveena, by the way, because the first Premier League game my wife went to, Saveena sat with her in the crowd. So thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. So thanks very much. And that's it. Yeah.
Good. Saveena, anything from you before we go?
Oh, you're so welcome, Chris. Great. It was great to meet you. And it's great to be a Forest fan at the moment, and absolutely lovely to be on the pod for the first time as a new signing. I've really enjoyed it, and like I said, it's great to kind of be, just enjoying all the fun of being a Forest fan at the moment. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful time, and I'm looking forward to the games we've got coming up. So Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham, going into them with a strong head, lots of positivity, and that's
good.
It from me.
Good. Right. Chief, I'll come to you last because I've got to ask you about one thing. I meant to download the video of you jumping into Lake Michigan. I don't know if people have seen it. Your tribute to Ryan Yates. I was watching that thinking, please don't do it, because I thought you might die. Do you have any regrets over that? What on earth were you thinking?
Yeah. I didn't get feeling back in my feet for like 6 hours. I lost my shoes. I lost my hat. I'm hoping the next time he scores is in the spring. If not, I think I'm going to fly to Mexico or Florida or something. Like I'll always try to find a body of water going into a frozen Lake Michigan. Not the smartest thing I've ever done. So I'm going to keep doing the formula, but tweak it a little bit.
Good man. Anything you want to add before we depart as well?
No, I mean, I'm just loving this season. I was telling my brother that and he's the reason I'm into Forest, because he finished college in Nottingham. So this is too special of a season. So we're going to go over in April and just try to soak it all in and just be part of it and go to the NAB and maybe check out some windows and have a great time, in Nottingham against Everton and really, because seasons like this don't, regardless of whatever your favorite sport is, whatever your favorite team is, they don't come around very often, at least in my experience. So I'm going to try to soak it in, revel in it. And I think everybody should do the same.
I think so. Right. We shall be back tomorrow, like I say, 11:30 a.m. with Prutz, Pete and Greg. And then on Tuesday, we will have Matt Oldroyd on, who's got a new book out. He's the co-founder of Forza with some other idiot. So we'll speak to him about that. With other said idiot will join us as well. I'm sure everyone knows.
I love that.
We all love that idiot.
Yeah.
So we'll have those guys on Tuesday. Wednesday will be a look at Matt Sells, focusing on a few particular saves he's made and try and explain how he's gone from having the worst save percentage in the league last season to probably the best, certainly the second best a week ago when I started looking at this. That's with James Belshaw, who's the Harrogate keeper, who's been on a few times before. And then we'll turn our attention to Bournemouth. So do join us for that. Been great to have 671 people with us as I say this right now. Do us a favour, hit like, hit subscribe, do consider becoming a channel member or signing up for Patreon, or just give us a lovely review on iTunes or Spotify. Chris Aylmer, thank you for having me on your podcast this week, and thank you very much for joining us today.
No, I appreciate you coming on the other day, filling in for Matt, my other Matt, who's in Hong Kong at the moment. I think he's back in the next day or two, so he'll be going to the Brighton game in a couple of weeks, which is good. But yeah, no, thanks so much for having me. I am delighted that we won the game and we've got it done. So I'm just really happy, and we keep pushing forward. And this is a really amazing season, as Chief and Saveena have touched on. Thanks for having me.
I was struck by some fear after going on that podcast, because I said Southampton are so bad and we would win as comfortably as any game, and people were saying we were a bit overconfident on this podcast as well. But thankfully we got over the line, even though it wasn't as we wanted. So yeah, nervous. Saveena, thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Matt. It's been brilliant. Really enjoyed it today. Yeah, so thanks for having me on. Yeah, had a great time.
Chief, thank you very much. Stay out of lakes and rivers, but good to have you on.
Well, it's in Celsius. Where I am right now is -16. So I haven't escaped the cold yet. This is the last day down here, and then I'm heading back home. So, but yeah, thanks for having me. I love coming on. Saveena, great to meet you as well. Chris, I met Chris in person, actually. We met Chris in person in Chicago a few weeks ago. So all the Forest focus people getting it.
We had a coffee. I think you've got a big game coming up, Notre Dame as well. On Tuesday, is that right? Or Monday?
Tomorrow night, Monday night.
Oh, wow. Yeah. The final. Anyway, yeah, thanks for meeting up.
Awesome. Right, good to have everyone with us. Let's go and watch or see how many more City score, and then we shall be back tomorrow. But if we don't see you then, hopefully we shall see you soon.